Good One is the new movie by India Donaldson. It is her feature-length debut. It premiered at Sundance this past January under the narrative dramatic competition. It follows the 17-year-old girl named Sam who is on a weekend camping trip with her father and his best friend. And really, it's a meditation of the clash of egos between these two guys and so much more. This is a movie that on the surface is very light, but in the background is full of subtext. We are surrounded by lush nature, animals, and insects. A lot of great shots of like an orange salamander that keeps on going from rock to rock. And we have this fly on the wall perspective of the three people and their camping trip, specifically centered on Sam. We follow her do just about everything, from pitching the tent to trying to find a safe place to use the bathroom in the woods. And her father is the type that might have had a more interesting life at one point, but now in his 60s, centered on work and the birth of their new child. Whereas his friend is having a hard time maintaining the relationship of his own son that was supposed to go on the camping trip, but backed out at last minute. And he's kind of a loudmouth, a little bit of an alcoholic too, a little bit of an unpredictable type when at the same time, we've known many people like this. The performance behind this character, it makes it all the more believable. And speaking of performances, Lily Collias as Sam is remarkably good. I mean, she is so believable in everything that she does. This movie in general is just one of the most assured debuts that I've seen in so long. I would put this up here with breakout hits like Short Term 12 or We're All Going to the World's Fair. The soundscape on this movie is immersive. We hear the waterfalls and we hear the crickets and nature all around. And the music, this very Brian Eno-like score by Celia Hollander is excellent. All of the needle drops are all distinct and excellent too. There is this sort of buildup that we are getting to. When they first start walking into the woods, there is almost like this unprepared feel, kind of like the Blair Witch Project in ways. And the uncertainty behind what is going to happen midway through this movie, it almost reminded me of Mean Creek. What we get from this buildup, like what ends up being revealed, is something very realistic and a little icky, and all the more compelling, making this one of the most striking coming-of-age movies I've seen in years. I'm really just blown away by the choices on this movie and how minuscule it could all feel, but how huge an impact it becomes as the film goes on. I really like how phones are used on this movie. Obviously, in the woods, your phone is out of service, but the few moments whenever they reach the top of a cliff and they get reception, there's almost like an interruption to the flow of this movie where we get to hear more about Sam's social life and the friends that they have outside of this experience, as well as the father and his work demands that he has to keep up with. It's all very realistic and has a very natural commentary on technology, as well as the other things that we have going on in our life that are silent to most people, but in the back of our heads at all times. It runs at a very brisk 89 minutes and is full of dialogue. It all feels very natural. We had questions in the crowd asking how much was improvised. Supposedly none of it was. This was a very calculated and tremendous effort, really. I am just blown away by this movie. It is probably the best movie I've seen so far in this young year. Good One, I would give a 9.0. It had its New York premiere through the New Directors New Film program over at Film at Lincoln Center, and it is going to be released by Metrograph Pictures. Check this movie out.